Commander Marcus Chen had earned quite the reputation aboard Station Kepler-7. The other residents whispered about the stern-faced engineer who never smiled, never socialized, and seemed to find fault with every system on the station. His thick grey beard and perpetual frown made children scurry past his quarters, and his colleagues kept conversations strictly professional. Nobody would have guessed that this same grumpy man would become the most unlikely father figure in the galaxy. The crisis began when a damaged Zephyrian refugee ship limped into their sector, barely held together by emergency repairs. The ship carried survivors from the war-torn Andromeda colonies, mostly families, seeking sanctuary among the peaceful trading stations of the Outer Rim. Among the refugees were 3 young Zephyrian girls, their violet skin pale with exhaustion, and their large, luminescent eyes reflecting trauma that no child should ever witness. The eldest, Lyra, stood barely 4 feet tall, despite being 14 in Earth years. Her younger sisters, 10-year-old Nara and 8-year-old Kira, clung to her sides like frightened shadows. Their parents had perished during the evacuation, leaving the girls orphaned in a universe that suddenly felt impossibly vast and cold. Station protocol was clear. Refugee children needed immediate placement with approved families. The adoption coordinator, Dr. Sarah Mills, had arranged interviews with every eligible family on Kepler-7. One by one, the families came to meet the girls, their initial enthusiasm fading as cultural barriers and communication difficulties mounted. The Hendersons, a cheerful couple with 2 human children, found the girls too withdrawn. The Patel family worried about the special dietary requirements. The O'Briens expressed concerns about the girls' unusual bioluminescent markings that glowed softly when they were emotional. Each rejection sent the sisters deeper into despair, their hope dimming like dying stars. Dr. Mills was running out of options when she remembered Marcus Chen. His file showed no family, no social connections, and multiple complaints about his difficult personality. It seemed like a desperate, almost cruel suggestion, but she was legally obligated to present the opportunity to every eligible adult on the station. Marcus sat in his cramped quarters, surrounded by engineering manuals and half-finished projects when the adoption coordinator's message arrived. His first instinct was to delete it immediately. Children? Him? The idea was absurd. He was 47 years old, set in his ways, and had built his entire life around solitude and machines. Children needed warmth, patience, nurturing qualities that everyone assured him he completely lacked. But something made him pause. Perhaps it was the memory of his own childhood in the industrial colonies, where unwanted children were shuffled between facilities like broken equipment. Perhaps it was the quiet understanding that sometimes the most broken people could recognize brokenness in others. Whatever the reason, Marcus found himself walking toward the refugee center 3 days later. The girls sat huddled together in the corner of the sterile waiting room, their soft blue glow barely visible. Lyra looked up as Marcus entered, her ancient eyes meeting his weathered gaze. She saw no fake smile, no forced enthusiasm, no patronizing tone. Instead, she saw someone who understood that the universe could be harsh and unforgiving. "They told us you fix things," Lyra said quietly in heavily accented standard. "Can you fix us?" Marcus knelt down to their level, his expression softening almost imperceptibly. "Nobody's broken here," he said gruffly. "You're just displaced. Like a circuit in the wrong configuration." The girls exchanged glances. They had learned to read adults carefully, watching for signs of rejection or false promises. But this strange, grumpy man spoke to them like equals, without the syrupy sweetness that others used when addressing children. "Your ship," Marcus continued. "I heard it was a modified Centaurian freighter. Did your father work on the atmospheric recyclers?" Nara's eyes widened. "Papa taught me about the molecular filters, the crystalline matrices that..." Separate oxygen isotopes from methane compounds, Marcus finished, a ghost of a smile crossing his face. Impressive. Most adults don't understand those systems. For the first time since the evacuation, Kira spoke. Marcus Human knows about ships. I know about a lot of things, he replied. And I live alone in quarters, big enough for 4 people. Seems inefficient. The adoption process moved forward with surprising speed. Dr. Mills was astounded by how quickly the cultural barriers dissolved once Marcus stopped trying to be what he thought a parent should be, and simply became himself. He taught the girls about engineering, spoke to them about practical matters without condescension, and created routines that felt stable rather than smothering. The station residents watched in amazement as the notorious Grouch transformed 3 traumatized refugees into confident young people. Marcus modified his quarters with sleeping alcoves designed for Zephyrian physiology, learned to prepare their traditional foods, and even installed special lighting that complemented their natural bioluminescence. More importantly, he showed them that families weren't built on conventional warmth, but on mutual respect, shared interests, and the quiet understanding that sometimes the most unlikely people could create the strongest bonds. 6 months later, when a Zephyrian cultural delegation visited the station, they were shocked to find 3 young girls who spoke fluent Standard, understood advanced engineering concepts, and glowed with genuine happiness rather than fear. The delegation's leader asked to meet the family that had achieved such remarkable integration. They expected to find some exemplary human family, perfectly suited for cross-cultural adoption. Instead, they met Marcus Chen still grumpy, still antisocial, still completely unsuited for parenthood by conventional standards. But as Lyra proudly explained their family's latest engineering project, and Nara demonstrated her growing skills with molecular theory, it became clear that conventional standards had failed to account for something far more valuable than social grace: genuine acceptance. Marcus had given the girls what they needed most, not a perfect parent, but an honest one who saw their worth when everyone else saw only complications. In return, they had given him something he never knew he was missing: a purpose beyond maintaining machines and keeping the universe running smoothly. As the delegation departed, thoroughly puzzled but undeniably impressed, Marcus returned to his quarters, where 3 alien daughters waited to show him their latest homework assignments. He was still grumpy, still antisocial, and still completely convinced that he was terrible with children. He was also, by any measure that mattered, an excellent father.